participating in today's agenda. And I'm very happy to be speaking on behalf of RTB and how we at Videology not only activate it within our platform, but philosophically how we approach it and leverage it through our unique approach. For those of you who don't know who Videology is or what we do or what that philosophy is, we think this statement sums it up quite well. Engineering technologies, we engineer technologies to maximize media value for advertisers. What does that mean? Engineering, I think, is indicative of Scott Ferber and the mathematicians and the scientists we have within our organization, the people. We build things. We're architects. And our chief architect is Scott Ferber. And he'll be coming later today and speaking on a panel at, I think, 4:30. It's grilling the vendors. And Scott builds things. Scott built ad.com. He founded ad.com in the late 90s. And when most people were continuing to buy impressions on the internet on a CPM basis, he looked at things and said, you know what? An impression is not an impression is an impression is an impression. That there is inherent value behind that eyeball. And if we can identify who that person is, the dynamics with which we reach them, and optimally allocate inventory to the right person at the right time, we could change the paradigm to not just selling on a cost per thousand, but on a cost per action. Advertiser, what do you want to achieve with this audience? And we would deliver the right media mix to do that. Now, Scott pioneered, and frankly was one of the great pioneers of digital media when he launched ad.com in 1999. And it was a great company with focus specifically on direct response advertisers in the world of display. What we're doing here now at Videology is applying those same mathematical and scientific approaches for brands in the world of multi-platform, multi-format video. So engineering is important, again, the aspect of people. Two, it's technologies. We're a technology company. We create things. It's our products and our tools and our unbelievably beautiful platform which trading desks leverage to self-service their campaigns, ride alongside of us, pull real-time reports, but it's the things that we create based upon that engineering approach. Maximize, everyone talks about optimize. Of course, we're optimizing. We optimize the planning level. We optimize the buying level. We decision in real time. But it's maximizing value for everyone in the ecosystem, for the viewer to get something that's more relevant to them, for the publisher to extract the greatest yield from their placement, and for the advertiser to get exactly what they're looking for. And they are the only ones that define that, not us. And of course, the central theme here is value. If we don't create value, none of this matters, right? And the advertisers create what value it is, and we help orchestrate that and make the whole ecosystem much more harmonious from a multi-device, multi-format, now for us, a multi-country world. I'm sure someone this morning, I was streaming back at the office this morning, I'm sure someone put up the Lumascape slide at some point. If not, they're probably going to do it later today. Lumascape slide's great, explains about all the different actors in our business, of course. When we look at the landscape, we see it as much more connected. And again, much more of an ecosystem. And at Videology, we're systems integration experts. And what I mean by that is all these different third parties that need to connect and communicate with each other to create greater efficiency. So I'll give you an example. Ford wants to sell trucks, right? Well, what kind of data are we going to leverage to identify an in-market truck buyer? Someone that can afford a souped-up F-150 and identify all those sub-segments of that in-market car buyer audience to get them to buy a car or buy a truck, right? But how does that data integrate with supply sources? And that's where I'll talk about real-time bidding and different access to publisher formats and units, right? Where do I source that from? Publisher direct in a real-time bidded basis on an exchange? So where do I find the people? How do I identify who those people are? How do I serve that creative up? Because I probably want to change the message based upon that person. If they're over a household income of 100K plus, maybe I want to sell them or offer them a buy offer. Under 100K plus, a lease offer. So again, the data's got to connect to the supply source to find the people. It's got to talk to the creative. It's got to run by the verification system. And then ultimately, you've got to measure what actually happened. Did I sell another truck based upon the exposure to that viewer? Someone's got to sit in the middle. Someone's got to decide. Someone's got to make sense of this chaos. And that's what we're trying to do at Videology. So a lot of us know a lot of people know us as the addressable guys. We've built this as a fundamental proposition of our platform since day one. We pioneered terms called zero waste. We were offering TRP guarantees 5 years ago. And when we look at addressability and we look at optimization, we look at it kind of in three different buckets here. One, there's the targeting aspect. At the pre-planning level, who am I going to reach? What's the composition of that person to make the campaign effective? And then, once I'm in market, deciding, as I see people and they come up, what impression to run at the right time. And I'll tell you, from our perspective, when I look at other ad servers out there, most ad servers are set up in dumb, greedy ad servers. But what ad do they serve? The one that pays them the most amount of money at that given point in time. We don't do that. That's not what we built at ad.com with AdLearn, right? That's not what we're deploying here. It's the ability to forecast when I'll get to see someone. I may take the campaign that pays me less at that given point in time because I'll see someone else later. It's that forecasting and decisioning. It's not a DSP, it's ESP, because we can understand, again, when we'll see those people, make the most efficient use of that inventory. So we look at age and gender and lifestyle. Of course, you have to look at all those things. That's the way media is bought and planned, right? But we also now have to look at screens as audiences become more fragmented. And we have built our system to scale across not just online video, but mobile video, mobile display, PC display, connected television, linear television. I want to see people at every digital touch point in their life and then deliver the right and optimal media plan to our advertiser to achieve an objective. And then, of course, there's the optimization process during that feedback loop. Addressability just isn't about targetability. It's about understanding and fine-tuning who that audience is and uncovering trends that you may not have even known before. I'm targeting men 25-54, but I want to drive actions to a site. Okay, well, what's the right audience or the right frequency for reaching and driving action from the younger subset versus the older set? What about sequencing of messages? What is the right device to the right audience at the right time to drive that action? This is the way we look at targeting, decisioning, and optimization. Now, none of this matters if you don't have scale. Right? We're never going to move TV dollars into the world of online video and more of digital video in general if you don't have scale. So, we're very proud to be #1 in potential reach in ComScore. We have been #1 for 4 out of the last 5 months. The December numbers just came out the other day, and we have reach of 166 million people in video. That's great. ComScore is the gold standard. It's important. But 83 million addressable is really what's interesting to us. Knowing who's behind that impression. Knowing the audience, predicting what the customer's behavior will be able to do, and ultimately, again, get the right message in front of them. Mobile is important to us as well. We have 150 million people we can potentially reach there. Many of you saw we acquired a company called Collider Media about 9 months ago. Collider is one of the leading mobile DMPs, so they manage data for premium publishers. Now, why is that important? Well, we want to be able to authenticate users on their mobile devices and tablets without necessarily having to use a cookie, which is challenging to do on a mobile device. So Collider gives us that capability, and we're in the process of mapping all these things together, along with our connected TV inventory, again, to offer true media mix allocation and optimization. How do we do that? Through the aggregation of data. And we don't just aggregate data. I mean, anyone can aggregate data, right? But it's aggregating in the right way and leveraging it the right way. So we work with all these different data partners. Some of them we have exclusive server-to-server integrations with them, and they all give us a clear picture of who this crazy guy is and the bug guy is, right? Okay, he's male, 18 to 34, that's what the advertiser wanted, but what about all these other trends? He's married, he's in the market for the car, he's got a pet, he's into sports, he likes to read books. What are all these different things that can impact how your campaign is delivered and successfully performs? And again, you may say, Brian, I want to run men 18 to 34, and I want an 80% comp, and I want to run this flight, and here's what I'm willing to pay for it. Great, we'll set that up. That's a variable constraint of the campaign. But I want to drive actions. Well, where most people, and what we've seen in the past, they optimize to the site level, and that's okay. You can pick sites that have high click-through rates, and most of it's gaming sites and whatnot. But we'll look at the individual. We'll look at all these other trends that you weren't even thinking about from a targeting perspective, spit that back at you. And then it can refine, again, your buy to hit this specific person to drive that action. And again, we know that media is still bought in silos, right? There's different teams for digital, there's different teams for television, there's different teams for print, right? We see more convergence happening at a number of key agencies, but still things are bought in silos. There's a display line item, there's a mobile video line item, there's an online video line item, there's FEP line item versus quote-unquote networks. And we can do that. We want to give the flexibility to people within our system to say, I want to run in this inventory, I want to run in these formats, I want to source in this manner, or, and this is what we're seeing more and more of, and what we really like, is allow the system to optimally allocate. What do you want to do today? You want to drive clicks? You should probably spend more time on mobile. Click-through rate there is unbelievable. Not as important about it, I have a branding message. Can't click on most connected TV apps unless you're PS3 that's IP-based, right? The Roku and Box, you can't click on those ads, so that may be more important. Or if you want a more dynamic experience, you look at PC, right? But it's marrying all those mixes together, having that agnostic view, and allowing the system, we think, is the best way to optimally drive toward your action. Okay, we need to talk about real-time bidding. That's the topic of my presentation, right? Obviously, this is growing. This is why we're all here, right? I think most of this morning was talked about display. Obviously, our name is Videology. We're focused on video. Video is growing quite substantially, and we love real-time bidding. And we deploy it a couple of different ways. One, the way we source inventory is very mixed. So we have guaranteed and reserved inventory. About 90% of the time, our advertisers campaign run an inventory we go long on. But we also sit on and have seats on every major exchange that's out there. That would be real-time bidding, right? But real-time bidding, you can also real-time bid or real-time place on guaranteed inventory. So we go long, again, we buy upfronts with a number of premium publishers, but we have a technology we call sniff and pass, where I can identify, that's female 1834, I'll take it, and I'll allocate here. Male 1834, don't need them today. So that's kind of real-time bidding too, right? That's real-time decisioning on whether I want that ad or I'm going to pass it back. I still have to fulfill to that advertiser. But what that brings us, this mix, this combination, having this universal approach, gives us the scale and the frequency and, frankly, the lower cost of working and real-time bidding off of exchanges, but also the guarantee of fulfillment, of consistency, of smoothness, and that's what TV buyers want. You're running a movie campaign, and it launches on Friday, and it runs 1 week, and then you chase it, or Macy's has got a sale that starts on Thursday, or you've got a new product launching on Tuesday. Do you really want to leave it up to a bidding? You might be outbid by 5 cents, your campaign doesn't run. Do you want to have 6 impressions one day and 100 the next day and 1 million the next day? That's the challenges, I think, if you just rely solely on exchange-based, auction-based media. And that's why we think you need to have that mix. Because that's what brand advertisers tell us in video is important to them. Flighting, consistency, you better deliver my campaign. And again, we have controls set up in our system. Again, advertiser tells us, we didn't build this and take it to market and say, here's the system, take it or leave it. Constant feedback, constant iteration of our systems. So we have real-time bidding controls in here right now, and you can pick the inventory source, you can set CPM floors, anything you can do in display. And we also have the guaranteed and reserved, the reservation system on it, where you place your position on inventory, and we take principal risk and guarantee that. And again, there are different bits and pieces with each model. Again, tell us what's most important to you. I'm kind of wrapping up here, but Videology, we're big believers in RTB. We love it. When we can see who the impression is, we can see who that person is, and make a decision on whether we want to serve or not, that's great. The exchange-based supply is still somewhat limited. I think people will talk all day long about that, and why I think you need to have upfront commitments to video buyers. If you think about RTB, right, upfront and scatter was kind of the first incarnation of that. It's not something new. Upfront taking position long, scatter is buying in more real time. Now, the speed of that is changed, but the mentality is still, there's two pieces, right? And we deploy each within our system. So again, we want to find audiences through two different types of approaches to finding those audiences, deciding when we run them. We're decisioners. We are programmatic. That's what Scott built, programmatic into ad.com in 1999. Programmatic has always been a sense of what we do. It's been automation and systems and tools to do all of this. And RTB is a transactional protocol. I'll leave you a transactional protocol that's a piece of programmatic buying. It's not the whole thing. And that's our approach as a universal, addressable operating system. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate being here. And thanks.